All right, I think we're live and welcome back to the Q&A today. We're live again and this is our live living in Costa Rica. And today we're answering all of your questions really concerning residency, concerning perpetual tourist, and do you qualify to become a resident in Costa Rica? And hey, a lot of people want to know what's the financial situation with Costa Rica. Lots of questions, but we want to focus on, really your residency, perpetual tourist, and then we're going to answer all of the other questions like what happened to Alan's mustache? Things like that.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Introduction.
we're going to have a whole lot of fun, but in case this is your first time here, I'm Alan, and this is my beautiful co-host and wonderful wife, Rebecca. And we're going to have a good time answering all of your questions. But first, let me remind you where we're at. So we're at Rudy's Mirador La Torre. And look, if you haven't ever been here, you want to make sure that you check the link in the description. There's a Waze link that will bring you right to Rudy's restaurant. In our opinion, it's our most favorite restaurant right here in San Isidro. Man, look, not only do they have a phenomenal view, but they've got service. When you come here, it's an experience. It's not the typical Tico type restaurant. And while there's nothing wrong with the typical Tico restaurant, it's the culture, and that's what most restaurants are. When you come here, it's an experience. The food is great, the service is great, the prices are right, and the apple juice is cold. So make sure that you check it out. But Rudy wants to give you an incentive for coming. Rudy says, if it's your first time to come visit me at the La Torre, just let us know that you saw Alan and Rebecca on YouTube, and you get your first drink for your first visit on the house. So make sure you come visit Mirador La Torre. Check the link in the description so that you can get the Waze link. It'll bring you right here.
Yes.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so make sure that if you haven't done so already, put all your questions and your comments inside the chat box because we want to answer all of them. And while you're here, go ahead and take a moment to smash that like button so that we can get some YouTube love, okay? All right, so.
Well, I noticed a question earlier.
All right.
That I want to address. It's not in the feed anymore. I don't know if we can find it, but in the first video I was talking about buying the insurance, the travel insurance through Trawick, and that Costa Rica had mandated that you send proof of that insurance into an email address, a Costa Rican government email address. And then I received what I think is just an auto reply saying now you need to go complete your health pass so that you can get your QR code. Well, I did that anyway, but I don't really think that it's required. But the thing is, I don't know. And someone on here said, "Oh, I didn't fill out my my health pass." I don't know how that could be required because you're already in the country. We're talking about perpetual tourists that are here on the 90-day visa that has been extended and extended and extended and was supposed to end on March 2nd, but Costa Rica graciously at the midnight hour, so to say, extended it for another 90 days. This time though requiring that you buy the travel insurance. I just don't know how they could require the QR code, but I did it anyway, just in case. In fact, the health pass didn't really suit, like the answers weren't set up for somebody who is already in the country, of course, because you're supposed to be filling that out to fly in or come over the...
I think what's the most important thing is that Costa Rica wanted to force everybody out so that you could have that travel insurance. It's a protection for them and it's a protection for you, okay? Now, with that travel insurance, though, you had to prove that you have that insurance. And so whether you fill out the health pass or not, I don't think is important. If you get your travel insurance from Trawick, then you get this email, and you can even download their app on your phone. So I carry my phone with me, and if anyone ever asks me, I can open up the app, I can show them, and I've got proof of my insurance, okay?
So of course, we're talking about people who are already in the country whose 90-day visa has been extended again. If you're coming into the country from outside of the country, then you have to fill out that health pass and get your QR code.
Yeah. So real quick, because I can see that there's 41 people on the show today right now, and real quick, I need to ask, did we have any problem whatsoever with the noise? Could you hear okay? Now, I know that a couple of people said, Rebecca, she speaks so soft, please speak up, and we're working on that. And we got some lapel mics that for some reason aren't working. But anyway, we'll have to get that resolved as well. So one of the things of living in Costa Rica, it's difficult, very challenging to buy audio equipment or any kind of high-tech equipment, okay? But did you have any problem with the wind noise? Did you have any problem hearing other than Rebecca, is soft-spoken and she's trying very hard to speak up, okay? Did you have any problems? We need to know that so we can always make sure you have a great experience, okay?
Doug says he grabbed an apple juice too.
Hey, Doug's a smart man. All right. So everything seems to be working fine from the comments right here. People are saying that everything is good. That's fantastic. Okay. So, yeah, April says, I can hear great this week. No problem with the noise. And they love the birds in the background. And that's what's great about Costa Rica. Where we're at, you always get to hear these birds in the background. Really, that's just a recording I got here. No.
That would be terrible. Huh?
Wouldn't that be? When I'm in the house, we get the crickets chirping and stuff like that. When the dogs aren't barking and the neighbors aren't partying. And
yeah, which makes it very difficult to do a live where we live. First of all, the internet is not as strong there. It buffers a lot. We have neighbor dogs barking and other things just happen. So we find ourselves finding these nice locations to have a live in, but things happen there too.
That's right. So, and Dirk says, I'm sitting in Germany with my single malt. Welcome to the apple juice team. So anyway, okay, so let's get into some of these questions and comments. And remember, let's see if we can answer all of these questions. I like to go to the top of the chat right here. And, all right, so, and forgive me, not only do I mess up the Costa Rican language, not only do I mess up Espanol, I mess up English, and I mess up every language. So if I mess up your name, I'm really sorry. I'm trying hard. But anyway, how do you think that's pronounced? Zarkos? Zarchaos? Anyway, he says, what do you think the future is for a country that relies so much on tourism? And you know what? Really, Costa Rica has relied on tourism for I guess most of their time. So tourism is their main industry, and because Costa Rica is marketed pretty doggone good, I think that their future is going to always be good. Now, keep in mind that they do rely heavily on foreigners coming here, and it really hurt them whenever the borders were closed. But I think we can all agree that I think this whole pandemic situation is only temporary. However, really nobody knows, right? And we never know when the next thing might happen, right? I mean, there's some people that's preparing for the zombie apocalypse. Hey, okay, zombies might come, but and maybe they won't. And so all we can do is really just enjoy what's going on today. But I really do think that you don't have to worry. I think that Costa Rica, like everyone else, we're not going to have a lot of problems, okay? So I think it's going to be all right. I really do. Kelly had mentioned here that, hey, so anyway, oh, I lost it. But anyway, that's okay. So anyway, I want to thank you very much and greatly appreciate all of your response and your questions. Let's see if we can find the next question real quick. Okay, so the same guy, Zarkos, asked, well, how is CAHA calculated? How's that computed? And, I always, we're not the expert, and we always try to give you factual information, but if I make a mistake, hey, I will own up to it. And in the past, I used to say that CAHA was 10% of your income, and that was a mistake, okay? And I got that information. I thought that was accurate. Well, I did some more research, and CAHA is on a sliding scale. So if you're a pensionado, someone retired, you get to pay less CAHA than someone like us who was working. So your CAHA is calculated on several factors, and it could be anywhere from 4, 5, 6%, as much as 12, 13, 15% of your stated income, okay, the income that you prove that you make. However, other factors like where you live at in proximity to how close the hospitals are, things of that nature, okay? So there's a few things that is factored in. But what's important, and I'm glad you asked that question, is once you apply for residency, that process could take a year and a half, 2 years, and you do not pay CAHA until the moment you are approved. Once you are approved for residency, temporary residency, you then make an appointment with CAHA, which is the government healthcare system, and at that point you sit down with an official and he will determine how much your CAHA is, and then y'all can go back and forth on, you know, what you can afford, what you can't afford, whether you got to leave the country or not leave the country, continue being a perpetual tourist, whatever. But they do work with you so that you can pay CAHA, because it's far more beneficial for them to collect CAHA from you and know that you're covered. So that's important to note. So I hope that answered your question, okay?
Now, Alan, you're saying like the temporary residency where you have your golden ticket, you don't pay CAHA during that time. It's not until you are approved as a resident.
Okay, so let's clarify that.
Yeah, because
okay, so when you're applying for your residency, you're not a temporary resident. You're not. You're not anything. You're just applying for residency. And when you're applying for residency, you have a golden ticket. And that golden ticket just simply makes it very easy for you that when you stamp out every 90 days for your driver's license to validate it, you don't have to, you don't have a hassle. But you don't
even have to stamp out
That's
every
right.
90 days when you're in the process of applying.
okay?
But your driver's license won't be valid after 90 days.
That's right. So you have to stamp out if you drive. So you're not a temporary resident until you're approved. And once you're approved, it's only once you're approved that you have to start paying for CAHA. And then you're a temporary resident for 2 years. And then after 2 years, at the 3-year mark, you can then apply or request to become a permanent resident, okay? And so you can't even get your driver's license. And I'm not 100% clear on this. I think once you become a temporary resident, you can then go get a driver's license. But I'm not 100% sure on that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I think so. I don't think you have to be a permanent resident to get your driver's license. They just won't renew it if something is if you don't get your permanent residency. Okay, so I hope that answers.
There are so many things that are kind of a gray area, or not. It's not that it's gray area. It's not clear. It's very important that you get somebody to help you with the residency process. You can do it all on your own, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. But even though it is possible,
it's possible to do it on your own, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's changing constantly, and attorneys just have favor. They have special days that they can go, and so it will go a whole lot quicker if you have an attorney. It's just the facts, okay? And I want to shout out, thank you everyone that is donating. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. Also, not only is the process a little bit, difficult to find your way. How would you say that? It's constantly changing. Costa Rica now is looking at adding a category for residency. Well, actually, let me not say that. It's not for residency. It's a 1-year visa. Instead of having to stamp out, redo your passport every 90 days, they're getting this category called nomad. What is it?
Digital nomad.
Digital nomad, where you can stay in Costa Rica for a year at a time and get it renewed at the end of the year. Apply again. So that's not happened yet, but they're constantly looking at trying to improve the situation.
Yeah, Costa Rica, while any government, the wheels of justice turn slow, Costa Rica is trying to find ways, because they realize that if they can bring in foreigners, gringos, to come into the country, they typically have more money than their own people, and if they're spending their money and they're getting their CAHA, then it boosts the economy. So it only makes sense for Costa Rica to do that, okay? So they are definitely, like Rebecca said, they got a new digital nomad visa. Think about it like a work visa, and it's good for 1 year. It's only about $300, okay? But and I don't know anything else about it, and but you got to show that you have the income and apply for that.
Yeah.
And that just makes it easier. Every year you gotta, reapply is all.
Yeah, because our understanding is that a regular work visa is hard to come by, but this digital nomad visa is going to be easier to get, and it'll be good for a year.
Now,
so that's a bonus. Oh, I
go
also
ahead.
wanted to say another area that they're looking at improving, that there's talk, is for somebody who is in the process of getting their residency. They're looking at doing away with that 90-day requirement for their driver's license to be valid. I read that the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that they're working. They're looking at that. They're working towards it because that would help in the process. If you're getting your residency, you've applied and you're going through the whole process and you're just waiting that however long it takes to get your residency approved. They're looking at doing away with that requirement, like making you valid to drive.
That's right.
During that period of time. So, and another thing that a little while ago somebody was asking about the tourism. It was Zorkos asking about the tourism industry, and I just looked it up. It says that the tourism industry makes up about 7% of Costa Rica's GDP, gross. What is it?
Annual or whatever.
I forgot what it is. Their money. And it generates about 13% of their direct and indirect employment. So even though we think of tourism as being a big portion of their, the country's income, it's not that big of a percentage.
Right. So it's good thought there.
At least according to Google.
Right. Now Kelly asked and said, if you come over in the investor category, can you immediately apply for CAHA, and does CAHA cover dental and vision? And no, you cannot apply or pay for CAHA until you're approved for residency. Hey, you would think that they would allow you to start paying if you wanted to, right? Makes sense to me, but they don't. So anyway, once you're approved to become a resident, then you can pay CAHA, and CAHA does cover some of your dental and your vision. It covers quite a few things. So really, their CAHA insurance is really very good. One of the things to keep in mind is that when you're paying CAHA, it's per family. So I pay CAHA, and it covers my wife, covers my children, and that's why the CAHA difference per family. With Rebecca and I, our CAHA per month is going to be a lot less than someone that comes over and they got 2 or 3 children, or, a single man that comes by himself. So that CAHA monthly fee is going to be different depending on your circumstance, okay?
Your income, where you live. There's a lot of factors.
A lot of factors, okay?
That go into that determination process. You actually have to have a meeting.
Now, a good point, because some people ask, well, what if we're not married? If I'm not married, then can we apply together? From my understanding, no, you can't, because in part of your residency status, you have to show a marriage certificate. And if you don't show a marriage certificate, then you have to apply separately, and you're going to pay CAHA separately. So, it may behoove you to get married, okay? So anyway, it's just some choices. I know people have different reasons for whatever, okay? I'm a pastor, I'll marry you, okay? Anyway.
Yeah, and also for children, it's 18 and under.
Okay.
That it covers.
Yeah. 18 and under, although they do have some kind of extensions if you have adult children that are still living with you up to a certain age. I don't know all the facts, but we are doing the research for you, okay? And April says, where is that place that you get your first drink free? And that is Mirador Ulterior. It's on the north end of San Isidro. However, you go to the link in the description, and there's a Waze link. You can click on it, and it'll give you directions straight there. And it's very easy to find on the north end of San Isidro. Great place for apple juice. All right. Thank you all the folks that they don't have any problem with the audio. I greatly appreciate it. Let me come down here. Now, Dean asked a really good question. Says, can I start my retirement residency application before I move to Costa Rica, or do I have to be a resident in Costa Rica first? So here's the answer.
And I think we were under a different impression last week. We've
Okay.
since then researched a little bit more and found out.
So here's what you can do. You can start getting all of your paperwork ready, okay? Now what you need to do is you need to come here, and when you come here, you actually have to physically be present when you apply. Okay, so you apply, you got to be physically present, and then once you apply, you can apply, and it's going to take a year, year and a half, 2 years to get approved, but you can then leave the country, okay, and you can travel back and forth, and I don't know what the stipulation is. I think that you have to at least be living in the country at least 6 months a year while that process is going on, okay?
And you can give an attorney power of attorney?
Yeah, you're giving an attorney power of attorney over your stuff, and he's really doing all of that stuff for you, which only makes sense. You don't want to be going back and forth to San Jose to immigrations and answering questions that you don't know the answer to, okay? So anyway, you can start that process, but you gotta be here when you start the process, then you can go. Okay, so I hope that answered your question, Dean, okay? Okay, now Bruce Evans, Bruce said, in an earlier video, I think you said that you have to have a return ticket, but if at the end of your 90 days you cross and you stamp out, I assume that you end up sacrificing your return airfare. Okay, that's a really great question, Bruce. So, if you are a perpetual tourist, you don't have the golden ticket, meaning that if you're applying for residency, you don't have to have a plane ticket, okay? Now, if you're a perpetual tourist, every 90 days when you stamp out, you have to show a flight that you're leaving the country, okay? Now, in the past, what we would do is we would buy a ticket and then you can extend that date. That's what a lot of people do, okay? Some people, and I'm not telling you that you should do this, some people will buy a ticket and then after they've done their process, then they just refund the ticket, and then some airlines give you a credit so that you can buy it again down the road. So there are several ways to do it where you're not losing that money to go in and out of the country. Some people actually...
You don't know when you're going to actually travel out.
That's right. So as long as you're legitimately doing it, okay, and you can actually get a bus ticket. So if you get a bus ticket that leaves the country. Now, if you buy a bus ticket in Costa Rica, one of the things you have to realize is they ain't giving you no money back. Once that money leaves your hands, you ain't getting it back. They might give you a credit, but you ain't getting that money back. So if you buy a bus ticket, yeah, you're probably going to sacrifice that bus ticket and lose that money.
But
so,
it's not a lot of money.
But it's not a lot of money to get a bus ticket, to, leaving, going to, say, David, Panama, okay?
I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think it's like around $40.
Yeah, I think it's around 40 bucks, but not 100% sure on the exact cost, okay? But that's a good question.
Thanks, JL, on the gross domestic product.
Yeah,
it would not come to my mind.
Yeah, the GDP, gross domestic product. Okay. I'm not that intelligent. I failed English. Okay. All right. Now, Johnny says, is Pablo in the form an attorney? And if so, who are they using? Okay. All right, so inside the forum, we have Pablo, it's in there. Pablo is an assistant to an attorney that he uses, okay? We're working on getting some more people to help you with your residency in the forum. So Pablo is an assistant. So you can get in the forum and ask some questions, and hopefully someone will get back to you. If they don't, hey, we apologize, but we're trying to find some more people, and we're trying to do everything we can to make the forum more and more valuable for you. And so we're having to make the connections because we don't want to have to just we don't want to have to recommend anybody and then you get the gringo price or you're getting scammed. We try to recommend people that we believe are going to treat you the right way and treat you fairly, okay? So I hope that answers your question, Johnny. Brian says, does residency cover aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews and nieces? And I don't think so. It has to be immediate family. So when you apply for residency, and like I said, we try to give you the right information, but from all the research that we've found out, when you apply for residency, it's going to cover you and your immediate family, only your children from 18 down. But if you have adult children, and I think it's 18 to 25, but I'm not 100% certain, you can get they won't get residency, but they'll have special permission for a certain amount of time until they get their residency. Important to know. So good question. All right. So that's a lot of the questions there. If I haven't answered your question, please go ahead and put your question in right now. If I have not answered your question, put the question in again right now so that I can see your question, okay? And hey, we've got lots of great comments on people saying thank you very much. Keep up the good work. We greatly appreciate it, and thank you. We appreciate your acknowledgement. We do work really, really hard. We don't get any benefit to promote Costa Rica. We just love doing what we do, and we love sharing our knowledge and information, okay?
Yeah, we've gotten a hi from Chile and a hi from Poland.
A lot
So
from
people,
Canada.
You know, a lot of times when we're talking, we talk as if we're speaking to only people from the United States because that's where we're from.
Right.
But we realize that people from all over the world are interested in moving to Costa Rica.
That's right. And you know, Doug's got a good question here. And this is anybody's guess. Doug says, do you think that travel insurance will become a permanent thing to cover medical issues going forward? Now, this is just my opinion, Doug. In my opinion, I believe that this, you know, some people on a lot of YouTube channels call it COVID insurance. It's not COVID insurance, okay? It's not. It's travel insurance. It has always been available for years and years and years. However, nobody was forced to buy travel insurance. Hey, travel insurance is a good thing to have because you never know when you go to a country and you drink the water and it's not good and it's sick. Fortunately, in Costa Rica, almost every place we've gone to, the water has been exceptionally clean. Only a few places where it was close to the Gulf and there were signs that say that the water is not drinkable, okay? But on most parts. However, I believe now that Costa Rica has mandated that you must have travel insurance, I think it's going to be a forever thing because Costa Rica, in my opinion, there were some new businesses that sprung up in Costa Rica to where they really wanted you to buy insurance from Costa Rica, but their insurance is extremely, extremely expensive. So we always recommend Trawick. They don't sponsor this video. We're not affiliated with them.
But it's who we use. There are other
right,
companies,
and they've been in the insurance business for years and years and years. Very good at what they do. Always updating their website in concordance with whatever is going on in Costa Rica. So I think that the travel insurance is going to be a forever thing for tourists. When you're a resident, obviously you don't need it because guess what? You're covered by CAHA, so you don't have to buy that.
What I would do if I was Costa Rican, again, there is no nothing set in stone just yet. We haven't heard anything. But what I would do is, if somebody is wanting a 90-day visa stamp, I would have them buy, you know, the travel insurance. But if you're just coming on a 2-week vacation or whatever, then you know, that way you're not. They wouldn't be requiring that of people who are
just coming
really
for
just
a short
coming
time
for vacation, which, you know, that could deter some people looking, you know, what country are we going to take a vacation to this year? Well, Costa Rica makes you buy travel insurance, but you know, so that could be a deterrent. But for those that want that 90-day stamp, then, you know, I don't see why. It's a good thing to have.
Yeah,
it really is.
You know, you're right. So who knows what they might actually do. So anyway, my opinion.
Again, that's just our opinion.
Yeah, my opinion, I think that travel insurance is always going to be in place for people. But I think Rebecca has a good point. I think, you know, it would be smart for Costa Rica to say, you know, if you're only going to come on vacation a couple of weeks, no. But the same thing, you got to think, what if they get sick, right? So anyway, that's just a thought. I think it's always going to be in place.
Yeah, and we're going to keep watching, you know, to see if there's any news on that. I mean, come June 2nd, who knows what they're going to do. Right,
but keep in mind, if you buy insurance with Trawick, right? I bought insurance with Trawick. It only cost me $80 for 90 days. However, if I would have bought my insurance from Costa Rica, it was $500.
Was that you individual or is that your price?
No, that was me individual, okay? So, you know, together it was a whole lot more. So, now, Trawick even offers annual plans, and so it's even cheaper. So, hey, at the price of insurance for Trawick, you just can't go wrong, okay? Yeah. So that's what I would do, okay? Now, here's a good question that came up real quick, okay? Um, yes. Now Brett says, okay, so do you still have to have the travel insurance during the golden ticket period? So in other words, you've applied for residency, which means if you're applying for residency, you don't pay CAHA until you're approved. Yes, you got to have travel insurance. So this is what Costa Rica has done. You're over here, you don't have any kind of insurance in case you get sick. You got to have some sort of insurance. Buy travel insurance, and then whenever you're able to pay CAHA, you don't have to buy travel insurance anymore. And that's what's happening, okay? So I hope that answers your question, Brett, okay?
Now, he's asking insurance during the golden ticket. We were told, since we had an appointment for our residency, that we didn't have to have any of that.
No. Keep in mind, insurance, the travel insurance. You just bought travel insurance, okay?
As a precaution, I wasn't really required
to. As far as I know, you still have to have travel insurance, okay? And Costa Rica stated that we give it an extension, and you have to have travel insurance in order to get the extension.
I know, but because I had that appointment for residency, I wasn't under the same 90-day requirement.
So you're saying that if you have an appointment with immigrations, that you don't have to buy the insurance? I don't know about that.
Sure. Which is why I went ahead and bought it. Even though my understanding after talking to the lawyer was that I didn't have to worry about stamping out on March 2nd because I had the appointment, which would have meant I wasn't leaving the country and wouldn't have had to buy the travel insurance. I wasn't trying to come back in. But because they did the extension, and for the extension to be valid, you had to have the travel insurance. I just went ahead and bought it just in case.
Right. Now, MV asked a good question. MV says, does CAHA get reviewed periodically? In other words, if I came in as a pensionado, a retired resident at 8%, but a few years later, and I don't think it would be 8%, I think it'd be much lower, but regardless, if you came in and you're paying 8%, but a few years later, you also collect Social Security. So now you not only got retirement check from your work, but now you're getting Social Security. Does CAHA income get reviewed every 5 or 10 years just based, So here's what I have from my experience. I'm going to say no. I don't have any facts for you, but based on my experience, and let me tell you why. Sometimes gringos come here and they like to flash their money. And I happen to know one neighbor who, he's a young guy flashing his money. And when they asked him how much money he makes every month, he gave this crazy figure of like $5,000, $6,000. So guess what? He pays CAHA on $5,000 or $6,000, and he wishes he would have never been a show-off and told people how much he was making, because if he would have stated that he only made $2,000 a month or proved he only got in $2,000 a month, he'd have been paying a lot less.
The thing is, he should have said what was the truth instead of bragging and making him, I think what it was, he wanted to make himself appear more successful
than he really was.
Because he was thinking, okay, I got to prove that I can support myself here and I won't need a job. And so he was making himself sound more successful than he actually was, which ended up, the best, tell the truth, because they will ask for proof of all those things. So, and don't overstate your income for sure, because then you're going to be paying CAHA on whatever it is that you say.
Right. So,
which I would think they make you're going to have to prove it.
Now, here's the thing: is that I think that you can go back to CAHA and you can renegotiate. And I really believe that my neighbor could have gone back to CAHA. He could have swallowed that pride pill, and I think he could have gone back to CAHA and renegotiated. He could have easily gone back and say, hey, my income level has dropped, and I'm now only making this much money. I don't know that, okay, but that's what I really believe you could have done. So I hope that answers your question, right. Is that...
And I think what he did is he tried to show his highest month income is what he did, instead of showing, because his income being a doctor, his income fluctuates according to the number of patients that he was seeing.
Right. So here's the important thing. The important thing is I don't think they periodically review it, but I think you can ask to go back. That's what I think. Okay?
Yeah. A lot of this stuff is new. I'm still thinking about the guy who asked about if we had to have insurance, travel insurance when you have the golden ticket. Well, as of March 2nd, this is the first time we've had to even wonder about that. So we're just a couple of days into March, and they haven't actually released the official ruling yet.
For being able to drive.
Right, for being able to drive. And the only thing we've heard so far is a statement made on their Facebook page.
Right. Now, Melanie asked a good question. Says, do you know of any good and trusty used car seller? And you know what? Okay, Melanie, I think used car salesmen in Costa Rica is worse than what you actually have in the United States. I think all used car salesmen, their job is to see how much money they can make. So here is my professional opinion on what and advice on what you should do. Find you a trusted Tico and ask them to go and see what's the best price they can get on that car, and explain to them. Don't tell them you're getting a price for a gringo friend. Explain to them, go find out how much it's going to cost, and once you get the price, then go back and then negotiate, or have that same person go with you and say, okay, you told my friend Rob here that it's only 3 million colones and I'm ready to buy the car. Okay, that's the best way to do it, because you know it's part of Costa Rica. You're going to get the gringo price. I get the gringo price way more often than I even know, but it happens. Now, you know what? But I want to say that there's been a lot of places where I remember living in San Vito, and once they got to know who we are, then we were getting the same price as everybody else, and it was almost like once they got to know us, we were rewarded because we weren't tourists, we were living there.
Yeah, I always, when Ellen says that about, they're all like, that makes
well,
me
it's not
it makes
everybody.
Me upset, because there are people. I mean, we've run into, there's an excellent mechanic over in San Isidro. There's an excellent mechanic, and not just good at what they do, but honest. The guy down in Sabalito with the motorcycle. So I don't like to make it sound like they're all like that. But the thing is that you do have to be about your wits. You do have to do your due diligence, and you can't be naive. But it's kind of a generalization. But there are lots of good places. So now, in the case of the used cars, we have a couple here that just bought a used car. Even them going through that process, you don't get to know a whole bunch about it. And we just don't, we bought our used car from an individual. So we've not had a lot of experience with used car dealerships. And I have to say, I'm seeing a lot more used car dealerships around than when we first got here. Down south toward the Panamanian border, I may have saw 2 used car dealerships in that whole area.
Right.
Here in San Isidro, there were more than 7 years ago. And in San Jose, there are lots of new car and used car dealerships. So we've just not had any experience with it. But just go with the attitude of I might get the gringo price, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you won't find an honest person. Right.
And it's kind of like and I'll recap, because if I never wanted to make it sound like it's anywhere. Most every Tico in Costa Rica are kind, they're very nice, they're very helpful, but just like anywhere, you're going to have people that try to take advantage of other people. It's part of it. So you got to use some common sense, and you just got to be careful. Now, the advice on being careful, because all used cars have been pretty much the same. If you got a Tico helping you, you're going to save a lot of money, okay? Now,
somebody made a comment about that if you buy a used car in San Jose, that it's less likely to have been driven on the roads elsewhere. Yeah, because the roads in San Jose are almost all paved, and not so much in the rest of the country.
Right. There's Costa Rica has more dirt roads and boulder roads than they have paved roads. So if you can buy a used vehicle in San Jose, excuse me, folks. If you buy a used vehicle in San Jose, you're more than likely to get a better maintained, a better kept vehicle than if you buy one down in San Vito. excuse me, in San Vito, there's a lot of rough roads, and that thing may be beat up and shocks wore out and all kind of things. So you're going to get a better vehicle by buying your used car in San Jose. Just bottom line. So I hope that helps, okay? Now, Lauren asked, would it be better from a cost perspective to use an attorney in San Jose instead of another town if all your documents have to go to San Jose? And, well, that's yes and no, because now finally Costa Rica is catching up and you can submit a lot of your paperwork online instead of having to actually submit actual physical paperwork, okay? However, you know, if you have your attorney in San Jose, it might behoove you. However, you know, you get an attorney here in San Isidro and he can submit all his paperwork. But if he's an attorney that's going to charge you every single time he has to drive to San Jose, it might save you money to have an attorney in San Jose because he's not having to travel so far. Because there are times when you simply have to be there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, another question was, I'm trying to think of that question real quick, but I'll look. Now, that same question, and I guess I'm not making it clear. What do you do for health insurance while you're waiting for residency? So while you're waiting for residency, you just buy the same travel insurance and you either renew it every 90 days or you buy the annual plan. So you have to have that travel insurance until you're able to buy Caja. So hey, just buy the cheap travel insurance until you can finally buy Caja.
And if Costa Rica eventually, sometime in the future, decides to not require the travel insurance, and you want to have some type of health insurance, then you can buy some type of international plan, you know, or possibly check with your insurance carrier from the country that you're in if you have insurance through them.
Bad advice.
No.
Yeah, I mean, most, you know.
I mean, some Blue Cross Blue Shield, Blue Cross Blue Shield covered here.
Yeah, some insurance may say they cover in Costa Rica. However, they're just not accepted most places you go. Now, you might can file it yourself, okay? So,
which is what I did.
You know, and that might be a cumbersome process. The best thing for you to do is to buy the travel insurance, which is cheap. It cost me under $100 for 90 days. Okay, that's cheap insurance. Okay, like when we used to pay for Blue Cross Blue Shield, that was $300 a month. You know, and that was expensive insurance. Travel insurance a whole lot cheaper, and they accept travel insurance because that's the whole purpose of it.
Yeah, coverages are not the same.
Okay. Now, Doug says, once you have your residency, can you apply for supermarket saving cards or promotions? And you know what? I don't know of that many. They do have some supermarkets that are, you know, kind of like members only, but like, in other words, Price Smart. You go to Price Smart, that's a great place, and it's kind of like a Sam's, if you're used to a Sam's wholesale club in the United States where you got to be a member. Well, they have Price Smart. I think it's actually owned by Walmart, okay, but Price Smart, and you have to be a member. But you know what? I haven't heard of any actual member supermarkets where you have to be a resident. I don't think they care whether you're a resident or not, as long as you pay the fee. But you know what? I can't honestly give you the facts on that.
Well, he might be talking about like the regular supermarkets, and they do give you have to give your number. There have been a couple that have just asked for my cell phone number and my Costa Rican number, and that has qualified me. And there are other places that let's see, they don't even require any kind of number. They just ask if you want to, have the discounts, if that's what you're talking about. So I think some places, I do like Alan. I don't remember any place asking if you were a resident in order to get the discount.
Okay, now real quick here, Eunice replied to Melanie saying, "Hey, I know a trusty person. His name is Jose so-and-so," and put a number there. And look, I always want to say thank you very much for helping. And remember, we try to be very careful as to whether we allow people to recommend someone or not, because we can't vet that person. So hey, do be careful. Thank you very much for saying so, Eunice, and we hope that person is an honest and trustworthy person. Just be careful when someone does recommend someone we don't know.
Yeah, and that's the forum is an excellent place to go and make those recommendations,
That's right.
because that's very, very useful information. I can't tell you how many times we've asked somebody, do you know a good dentist? Do you know a good eye doctor? You know, who can we use to fix our vehicle? That's excellent information. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Now, and you know, Lauren puts in there, you know, do be careful where you buy your coverage from, because you know, Costa Rica makes it mandatory that you have these certain limits. Okay, and so not all coverage will cover those limits. So it's important that you understand what those limits are. And you know, Trawick does cover all those limits, and it's cheaper than anywhere else. And they're professional and been in business forever and ever. Okay. Okay. Sarong says PriceSmart is not owned by Walmart, and like I said, I think they are. I don't know, but I think this person must know. They say they're not owned by Walmart, and that they're a membership company, and they're in a lot of countries like Nicaragua and Colombia. So hey, thank you so much for giving that update. Okay.
It looks so similar.
Yeah, they look very similar.
They look just like Sam's.
I'll do some more research. I thought they were owned by Walmart. Okay. Now, Kelly says, hey, is there any more word on the tax situation or the current tax rate? And I think what you might be talking about is that proposed tax law, you know, to incentivize people to come over. And we haven't heard any more on that. I keep checking, but haven't heard any more on that proposed tax law. And
I think all this COVID stuff has them tied up.
Yeah, it has them tied up with other things. You know, right now, the current tax rate, you know, whenever you go in and buy stuff, is that you got to pay 13% tax, and I think that's called IMV tax. I'm not 100% certain. It's a new tax that was started by the president, the current president. But when you go buy something, in other words, it's a tax every time you go buy something. What is it called? A consumer tax? Every time when you go buy something, a sales tax, and you got to pay 13% on top of, and it applies to almost everything. Not everything though. Okay.
Right, some items are excluded.
Right. Brian says, is car insurance expensive? And no, car insurance compared to most countries is very, very cheap. And obviously, it depends on how old your vehicle is. You know, our 24-year-old vehicle only costs us less than $200 a year for our insurance, but my motorcycle, which is only 7 years old, costs a little more a year, about $250, because it's 7 years old in comparison to a 24-year-old vehicle. And thank you, Octavia. It's IVA insurance that is 13% on stuff. Okay. And Doug says, well, I hear that you don't need that $2,000 insurance to cover you for your stay, and that is true. However, I don't think you can buy the travel insurance without that actual coverage, and I don't think it makes that big of a difference. But if you can prove that you own a home, and you don't have to pay that additional if you get sick where you stay coverage. Okay. That's right. But so thanks for that input, Doug.
If you have some type of insurance that will cover your medical expenses if you get COVID while you're in Costa Rica, and you have a home here or a place to stay here, then I guess that would be an example, a situation where you would not have to have the $2,000 required.
Yeah. So.
And I have read that. Other people were asking that question.
Okay, so some great comments here. Let me. And BB Vision says, well, what do you think your donation to the beautiful country of Costa Rica? And, you know, I think we donate a whole lot to Costa Rica. You know, not only do we spend 100% of our income inside Costa Rica, which really boosts the economy, but we're also proponents of giving people the pros and cons of living in Costa Rica, which then helps people to understand what they need to come to Costa Rica. So, you know, we love Costa Rica. While there's things that we don't like, that's true for no matter where you live, okay? But yeah, we enjoy Costa Rica, and we like to teach people when you come here, hey, find out. It's not for everybody. It was easier for Costa Rica. It was easier for Rebecca to adapt to this country than it was for me, okay? But hey, every person is different.
Looks like we're still blurry.
Yeah, it's okay. Don't worry. Okay, I'm scrolling up here to make sure I answered all of the questions. But if I didn't answer your question, make sure that you put it in the chat box, okay? Okay, I'm scrolling here, so I'm just looking here for questions, okay? Already talked about that. And MV says, do you have to produce documents to prove your pension income? And hey, I'm almost certain that you do have to have that document. And you can get that piece of paperwork from the Social Security Administration or wherever you get your retirement that, you know, shows that. Because I know that a lot of people don't actually get a physical check. It's auto deposited or whatever. But you can get something that proves how much retirement you get, okay? Boy, the bugs out here today, the bees are something else, okay? And I do want to take a moment, please, because there's a lot of people on the call right now or on our show. It looks like 75 people. Take a moment to hit that like button, okay? And it sends some signals to YouTube that you appreciate our channel, okay? Hey, here's a good question by Brian who says, okay, in general, how much does it cost for your residency? And that's what I wanted to answer a while ago that I got sidetracked on. Okay, in general, this is just general, you can expect to pay about $3,000 a person for your residency. So most websites, most attorneys I've seen don't even have a website, but the ones that do have a website, most of them don't have a price. But from all the different people we've talked to, most of the time there is about $3,000 to $5,000 depending on where you're from, because it does cost more depending on where you're from, okay? But in general, it's going to cost you about $3,000, and then it's a little bit less per dependent. So it's normally $3,000 for one person, a little bit less per dependent. So the more people that you're trying to get residency for, the more expensive it's going to be. But in general, that's what it's going to cost you. Just figure on average about $2,500 to $3,000 a person. And most of the time, they're going to have you pay half up front and then the other half once you get approved. And then there's usually a few other expenses that you have to pay that's not covered in there. And those are fees that actually have to be paid. So that $3,000 is going to be their fee, but then you'll have a fee that goes right to immigrations. And then there's another fee at the end. And then you got to pay for your DMEX, which is your ID card. And then, your other fees. So just know that it's going to cost you on average around $3,000, and then there are some other fees, okay?
Yeah, so if you're on a really tight budget, I would ask them to upfront tell you everything that it is going to cost you, not just with them, but with the government and everything, to disclose to you the total cost.
Yeah, they can't give you an exact figure, but you can get an idea about what it's going to cost, okay? And right now, residency applications are taking a whole lot longer, because Johnny asked, well, any idea how long residency applications are taking at this time? And they are backlogged. We've been in process for a long time, and we now have a new date to meet with immigrations, and that's July. In the middle of July, we go back to immigrations to look at our 4-year-old application that has been approved, but it's just not finished, okay? So, there's a lot of things that can happen. And we're hoping that in July, we're finally going to start the temporary process, okay? The 2-year temporary process.
I read somewhere that it's backlogged like 36 months right now.
Yeah, the dates are really backlogged. However, how many people will keep their appointments, and will it, so anyway, it's important that if you want to get residency, go ahead and try to apply. So it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. If it's backlogged for 36 months, then I get a piece of paper that says I got proof that I've applied, and I don't have to stamp out. However, if I'm going to drive, I have to stamp out.
But maybe they'll get on the same page.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question. I'm looking through here, and I think I have covered all of the questions. So if I haven't answered your question, please put it in there, okay? Sarong says if you're doing a straight retirement, especially with Social Security, you can do it yourself, and most people I've known that did it properly themselves got it faster than through a lawyer.
Oh,
Hey,
really? See, that's good.
that's good
know.
information. Thank you so much, Sarong. So,
Yeah, I've thought that the pensionado would probably be straightforward.
well, you know, the pensionado is the easiest one to do.
You know, you provide proof of how much your income is, and that should be it.
Right. Okay. So that's good input. Thank you so much for putting that in there, Sarong. Okay.
Yeah.
And forgive me if I'm saying that wrong.
And I have heard of people that have done it themselves, but for the rentista, it's a little more complicated. I find.
Right. Now, Purtavita says, have you heard anything about a new law under consideration to extend the tourist visa from 3 to 6 months? I haven't heard that.
But that would be nice.
That would be awesome, okay? And Panama has it that way. In Panama, you only have to stamp out every 6 months. So that really would be cool, and it seems feasible to me that they would do that.
And that would be one of the ways that Costa Rica could help encourage, you know, make it easier on the Perpetual Tourists. So.
Yeah, so that's a thought. So let me check out some other things here. All right, I'm having too much fun here. All right, so okay. Anyway, let me
see. That's she has Sarong has some good advice as far as she says, I think it's smart to videotape the passing of paperwork at migration, as too often things seem to get lost. That is an excellent suggestion.
Yeah, too often we've heard that several times, that immigration will lose your paperwork.
Yeah.
So always have copies of everything, because they will lose it.
In fact, our new lawyer has asked us for, if he was hoping we had copies of everything, and thank goodness we did, because he says, you know, if they've lost anything, the burden of proof is going to be on us to say we did submit it.
Yeah.
So we have everything with stamps on it, dates, and you're right, either have copies or videotape yourself of what you're giving to them. That's a great idea.
That's a great idea. Kelly asked, well, are the land borders open? And no, they're not open yet. And you know, we have no idea when they will open. You know, they keep pushing it back and pushing it back, and hey, hopefully June 2nd they will be open again. But at the moment, no land borders are even open. Okay.
From what I understand, they review that on a month-by-month basis, which is why this, you know, the March 2nd deadline was so difficult, because the land borders were closed.
Okay, and Knack Knack says, hey, why don't you speak about gay marriage? Do you have a problem with it? Well, I don't have a problem with it. If you're gay and you want to get married, so be it. Just don't marry me, okay? That's great. You know, Costa Rica has authorized, and they're okay with gay marriages, and that's not a problem. So if you are gay and you want to get married, Costa Rica does allow it, and so you know what? Hey, that's really an easy access, because you know there's a lot of places that don't allow it. Come to Costa Rica, get married, get your residency. How awesome would that be? Okay, so hey, that's good stuff. You know,
well, I hadn't thought about that, but since they require the actual marriage certificate, if you're from a country that doesn't acknowledge, or you know, what would you say, validate, certify, you know, give you a marriage certificate, then you know, Costa Rica is a possibility.
Yeah, you know, for us, you know, it's real important. We don't judge. Hey, I am who I am. I love my wife. I love to eat healthy. But you know what? If you like Dairy Queen like I like Dairy Queen, and you're 300 pounds on Dairy Queen, we don't judge, okay? We are who we are, and you are who you are, and we respect that, okay? So it's just important to know, okay? We love what we do, and we love what other people do, okay? Now, hey, you know, Sarong says, hey, I faithfully leave every 90 days, okay? And, you know, a lot of people go out every 90 days. Matter of fact, for over 7 years, we've been faithfully going out every 90 days.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out every 90 days. I don't. I want to be a resident.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, it's not good to go over your 90 days because they can give you a hard time about that.
Oh yeah, look, I've known people that, I know Canadians, this one guy we house sat for, he never checked out. He always flew out once a year. He never got caught. Okay, you know. So anyway, just something to think about. Hippocratic says, anyone know of a good English-speaking barber in San Isidro del General? You know, there's a barbers all over the place, and that's pretty amazing. But I don't know of any English-speaking ones. But hey, maybe someone here does. But hey, you should join the forum because we're trying to make the forum bigger and bigger and bigger. And the more people that are in there, the better it gets. There's a lot of free places in the forum. And we greatly appreciate when you become a premium member. But there's lots of free places in the forum where you can ask those questions. And that way you can meet other people.
Right. And Doug says, even if they would charge $200 for a 6-month visa, it would be worth it. Sign me up. I agree with you, Doug.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm coming through here, and it looks like I've answered all of those questions. And hey, you know what? Unless you've got some more questions, I guess we're going to wrap it up because I've had a great time today, and I really appreciate being able to do this all over again. You know, we greatly apologize. We never know if there's going to be issues with technical problems, wind, weather, rain. It's Costa Rica, so we have to be flexible.
It's live.
It's live.
Which is a challenge. And this little bee has been harassing us for the last, I think it's your apple juice.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, we're live. I could be drinking my apple juice and drink a bug. It's just... And I've done it before. It's extra protein. It's free. So.
And look, I really want to thank everybody who is blessing us with a contribution. Thank you so much. We haven't been calling out people, but we really do appreciate it. We see you.
Yes, we do greatly, greatly appreciate all of your support. Okay, we really do. Yes, Kelly says, are you going to do any more motorcycle tours? You bet. And I'm planning on a motorcycle tour real soon because I want to do a motorcycle tour of the actual Tinamás State area right in there so you can actually see that. And look, give us some input. Hey, you tell us. We don't do a live every Sunday. I love doing lives. And the thing that holds us back is that we don't have fast enough internet at our home and we have to go somewhere, which is an inconvenience sometimes, I think. But we eventually would love to do a live every week. But anyway, you tell us, what would you like us to do a live on our next live? Give us some suggestions and some feedback. You want to know about what topic, what live would you like us to talk about next time, okay?
Well, and Kelly asked about the tours. One tour that we're planning to do that I'm excited for is San Jose. We're going to do a tour of some of the places in San Jose. And just the contrast within the city is, I'm excited to do that one because it's going to be very enlightening, just seeing the contrast in the city that, you know, at some parts of the city you can eat at these high-end restaurants, you can buy a Mercedes, you know, it's different thing. And then a few miles down the road you're in what we call Shantytown. So that's going to be a good tour, I think. We're going to do that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. Okay, a whole lot of fun. So, you know, we really do enjoy getting a chance to kind of share with you some of our experiences, and I really can't wait to share with you some of the things that we're about to do because I've been behind the scenes working extremely hard to some innovative things to get faster internet, and I can't wait to actually share with you what we're doing and some big announcements coming our way very, very soon, okay, that I can't wait to share with you on.
I have to say this, Devil Dog has said to get rid of that helmet, that Nazi helmet that you ride with. Yeah.
Okay, I'm waiting for somebody to send me a new helmet. And in Costa Rica, it is what it is.
He likes his helmet. It's ugly.
It's ugly helmet, but it was the only one I could find because I don't like a full face helmet. I just want a pot on top of my head that's going to take care of this gray matter in case I have a wreck.
I don't know how good it would do, but somebody else asked about your mustache.
Okay,
What happened
okay.
to your mustache?
Somebody asked, what's the deal with the mustache? Okay, now I normally don't have a mustache. And you got to know that I was in the Marine Corps for a long time. Love the Marine Corps. And in the Marine Corps, you just don't have a lot of hair. And after being in the Marine Corps for a long time, I just got used to not having hair. And anytime I grow a mustache, or I got out of the Marine Corps, tried to grow hair, I could not stand the hair tickling my ears and tickling my face. And so I grew this mustache because I went to go to the United States, buy some stuff, and I got a Marine Corps buddy who's a fireman, and that was a fireman mustache. So I decided I was messing with him more or less. While I was there, I grew a mustache, okay? And so I tried it out for a while, but it bothered me so much. I was constantly... That mustache bothered me so much, I just finally said I'm shaving it off, okay?
And I was surprised by how many viewers suggested that you get rid of it.
Look, it's kind of funny. We actually had some rude viewers that said, get rid of that ugly mustache, or, get rid of...
And some were just playing with you.
And some people were teasing and picking, and hey, I actually had a few people like the mustache. You know what? I like to have fun on these lives and on our videos. Here's what's important. I love to have fun. We love constructive criticism. Now, if you're going to be downright rude or ugly, I'm going to call you out on it, and I'm going to delete you, okay? But as long as we can have fun, that's what it's all about.
Oh, and look, Sarah says, I know, she's saying we are going to get a special microphone for me, because it is so hard for me to talk loud enough. I really have to strain to talk. See, I'm talking louder now, but I'm really making an effort. So
Yeah.
I apologize for that.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I'm not loud like him, though.
Yeah, we did buy some lapel mics, and they work on our videos, so that when we're recording videos, they work great. But for some reason, they don't work when we're doing the actual live. So, hadn't figured that part out. I'm probably just going to have to buy a boom mic. But anyway, we're working on that. But hey, we always appreciate constructive criticism, always appreciate your advice. And you know what? Kelly said it right. Kelly said, I loved the mustache. But really, the only opinion that matters is Rebecca's. So,
you're right, Kelly. And my opinion was, at first, I really liked it. It was like a change. He came back from the United States. I was like, woo, look at that. But after a while of him keep doing this all day long, I was like, you can shave it.
Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, take a look. Devil Dog. He says Marine Corps changes everyone. Had happy hair before I joined.
Hippie hair.
Oh, he had hippie hair. Hippie hair. So did I. My hair was down to my shoulders. Had hippie hair before he joined, but now I can't stand hair. Hoorah! Devil Dog, go ahead. Hey, somebody asked me today, is it true, once a Marine, always a Marine? Absolutely, okay?
Yeah, he still eats like a Marine. Like 5 minutes, he's done.
Yeah, so anyway.
Yeah, and I love the way that when y'all meet, he's met people all over the place, not just in Costa Rica, but the United States. When we traveled, even when we went to the Bahamas and stuff, you meet somebody that's a devil dog, and they instantly have this bond.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but there is this bond for Marines. And don't make a mistake of meeting a Marine and saying, I heard you was in the Army. Dude, don't do that. Look, nothing wrong with being in the Army or the Air Force or the Navy, but I don't know what it is about Marines. Once a Marine, always a Marine. It's different. It is more challenging. It is difficult. It's just different. But anyway, it's just a lot of fun, okay? And indeed, Dean says, don't forget that fuzzy little kit that goes on the boom mic. It helps on wind noise. You're absolutely right, okay? So, hey, we're doing everything we can to make our lives better and make it a good experience for you guys, because we really enjoy helping you and we really enjoy the feedback, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Hippocratic Oath likes your helmet.
Hey, well, I'm glad somebody else likes my helmet. All right. All right. Hey, I think that's it, and I think we should call it a day. Rebecca wants me to take her to
We're
The
going
beach.
to Dominical.
So we're
We're headed to Dominical.
we're mountain people, but we love to go look at the beach, and she wants to go look at the sunset at the beach because you don't get to see the sunset during the rainy season. So that's where we're headed here in just a few minutes. And, Hippocratic Oath says, I don't see a lot of facial hair in Costa Rica. And you're right. You just, for whatever reason, facial hair is not a thing in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
It really isn't. It's just something different, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
different. And yeah, Kelly says, can't wait to have an apple juice. Yeah, we're going to have to do that, huh?
absolutely. Can't wait to, and we just really have a good time. So, folks, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day from here. We've been another hour and a half. Thank you so much for attending live with us. There are 62 people right now live with us. Make sure to smash that like button. We greatly appreciate you. We've had a good time, and thanks for bearing with us with the technical problems and the issues. So, hey, I'm taking my beautiful honey to the beach. We're going to probably have us a great meal at the beach and just have a good time watching the sunset. I hope you guys have a great day, and thank you so much for your love, your support. Thank you for smashing that like button, and thanks for always showing up for our lives. We'll see you next time on our next live or our next video. Talk to you later.